am going to serge these two pieces of fabric together so that I have one piece. And one of the important things to do when you start using your serger is to make sure the twin needles are up. And when you spin the wheel on the right side of your machine, make sure you only ever spin it towards yourself. I am using all 4 threads. I'm using white thread because I'm lazy and don't like changing my serger because it's a pain in the butt. Alright, so I'm just gonna start sewing. Cut my tail. Ba-doom. That one's done. So nice color block on the back. Go for the next one. Now that I have my pieces sewn together, I'm just going to press them because they're kind of wonky. The first step in the sewing process is to sew the shoulder seams together at the front and at the back. So always right sides together. So I've got this right side up. Whoop. Stay. And this right side on top together. And I'm going to sew the shoulder seams together. After I signed off last night, I serged the shoulder seams of the garment together. Next on this project, I'm going to be working on the neckband. A V-neck neckband is a little different than a regular neckband, but I actually think it's a little bit easier to get your neckband started because of the process that you use to complete the first part of the neckband. The first step is to fold the neckband in half, right sides together, and then stitch 1/4 inch from the edge. I don't have any red thread, so I'm just going to use this maroon. It should blend in pretty well. I have to wind my bobbin though. It's pretty easy on this machine. I mean, I did a pretty sloppy job, but I don't really care. Lazy sewing 101. And then what we do is we just snip inside the V like that. And then I'm going to press it open so that both of these parts of the V are pressed open. Then I cut off these dangly bits from the V. You kind of can see they go over the edge of the V, so you want to cut them off. Feel free to call them dangly bits. And the next step is to fold it over so the neckband is completely folded over, and then press it down. Sometimes if the fabric is really unwieldy at this stage, I will just pin it before I iron it. That seems to help sometimes. The next step is to sew around the seam allowance at the shirt front about 1/4 inch from the edge and for about 1 inch of stitching. Next, I'm going to cut down to the stitch line, but not cut the stitch line. Like that. Next, I'm going to sew my band together, just on the edge. Just to hold it together while I'm sewing it onto the shirt. So my camera battery is dying, so I'm switching to my phone, and actually I think the quality I'm getting from my phone is better, so I might permanently switch to my phone. But anyway, right now we have the V of the t-shirt sewn, and the neckband is made. It's all cut out. It's ironed down. I trimmed all of the excess pieces at the V and then stitched the V together. First, I need to find the center back of the neckband, which is actually really easy to do. I just fold it in half like this. And there's my center back right there. I'm gonna put a wonder clip on the center back just to mark that spot. So in order to sew the neckband on to your shirt, you need to flip it over so the right side is front, because you always want right sides together. And then I'm going to do this part with my sewing machine. So I'm going to use pins. When I switch to my serger in a little bit, I'm going to switch to using wonder clips. But for now, pins are fine. So pin the neckband to your shirt here. Actually, I think I need to move it up. You want to make sure the V is to the tip of, if you hadn't cut that V on the t-shirt off, you want to make sure the neckband's up to that tip. And then the next step is to open up the slit you made in the V so that the seam allowances of the shirt match up with the edges of the band, and pin those down. That sounded confusing, right? So basically, we're gonna flip it over, have my V there. I'm going to pull these down so that these edges line up with the edges of the V-neck and pin, like that. It seems weird and wrinkly, but it will work out in the end. Once you flip it over, it'll be fine. So on that side, pin, and on this side, pin. It seems kind of complicated and scary at first, but it's really easy once you get the hang of it. I also forgot to mention that I took the middle pin out. It makes your life a lot easier when you take the middle pin out. It does not need to be there. All right, so we're just gonna sew right inside of this stitch line and 1 inch on each side. Next, I'm going to be sewing my neckband onto the neck hole. And honestly, this is the hardest part of the whole thing. I think it's even harder than doing the V-neck part. So once you're done with this part, you've passed the hurdle, you've gotten through hump day, and you're on your way to Friday. All right. So what I need to do is find the center of the neckband and the center of the shirt. So I know that the centers of the neckband on the left and right are the V and this clip. So I'm going to put them together, line up the centers, and then pull out the edges. And I know that's one of the other center marks. Put a clip there. And then find the other one. Clippy there. And do the same thing for the shirt. I'm going to line up the shirt so that it's all perfectly lined up and folded over. Find my centers. Here, one is the V, the other is in the back center, and then the shoulders. My shirt is inside out, so I'm gonna need the neckband pieces to be on the inside. Sometimes people like to sew it right side out. Actually, I like to sew it right side out, so the neckband's on the outside. So I'm gonna flip it over and sew it right side out. It's your call, whatever you like to do better. And then I line my clips up and pin and clip at those points. And then they're all lined up. Not pretty right now, but once I serge it, it will be beautiful. Okay, so I've got the V here, and I'm gonna put that under my presser foot and start. Remember, if you lift your presser foot on your serger, you have to put it back down. And I want the whole V serged, so I am gonna start at the very tip of the V. And as I serge, I need to pull the neckband so that the fabric is even and the neckband is stretched out to the length of the neck hole. Oh no! My machine came unthreaded at some point and stopped sewing, so that's just one of the joys of having a serger. Oh look! I finished my first serger cone! How momentous is that? I rethreaded my machine and it actually chained on my first try. That's literally never happened before. What I did was I pinned the neckband back on because I am a major screw up, and you know, you saw. And I'm just gonna go and actually put gray thread in my machine, and I've been meaning to put gray thread in for a very long time, so I'm pretty happy with the way things have turned out actually. So I'm just gonna keep going. Put my presser foot up, stick that guy under there, press foot down, pull my neckband out, and go. And now that I've already cut off a lot of fabric on the edge, I'm gonna try my best not to cut any because I want it to be even.